Today I messed up thinking we were talking. I, a 19-year-old female, thought me and a 23-year-old guy was talking. Let's call this guy T. The backstory: T and I work at the same place, working right across from each other. At first, we were in the different places doing the same work, but then I was moved near him. In the morning, there is a meeting telling us what we will be doing and how much. We started to chat while this meeting happened. I even helped him find his ID for work. While we were still not working near each other, I gave him my number and Snap. He didn't have Snap, and we started to chat outside of work. Every day, we would send each other messages, morning and night text, and get to know each other. And when we work, due to us having slightly different schedules, we would hang out in his car before work and talk. We slowly got to the point where we'd get in his backseat and cuddle, mess around with each other, me even kissing him on the cheek, and us simply doing couple-like stuff. Last night, we were talking back and forth, doing what we normally do when we're not at work, when it turned into him telling me he thought we were just friends. Like seriously? With all the things we were doing? Some tears were shed by me due to frustration, and I became moody and a little rude. I told him that all the things we did was obviously signs of us talking, but he simply thought we were just being friends messing around. What do I do now? Today I messed up by taking a girl to a furry convention for our second date. I, 25M, met a girl on a dating app, and we went on our first date on Sunday. We really hit it off, and decided to go on a second date on Halloween. She really is the sweetest, most intelligent person I have had the pleasure to take out in a long time, and I really wanted this to go well. We decided we wanted to go bowling. There's a place across the street from my apartment. When we got there, however, the place was charging absurd $70 per hour prices for Halloween bowling, so we decided to try somewhere else. I live in Nevada, and in my city there are a lot of casinos. One of the casinos has a bowling alley, so we decided to try there. We parked, headed up to the second floor and, furries. Oh my god, oh so many furries. I guess this particular casino holds several furry conventions throughout the year, and one of them is on Halloween night. They buy out the bowling lanes and do Halloween furry bowling. Now, that's whatever. We showed up before the furry bowl started, so we were able to get a lane, but on our way out, we saw several mostly naked people, men and women, with thongs and cat ears. This is by far the weirdest second date I have ever had. We were cool, and we had a good night, but Jesus, I really did not expect to take her to a furry con. Today I messed up by not using the toilet. Back in the day, when I was about 13-14, I used to get Thursday evenings home alone. My mom would be at work late, and my dad would be taking my sister to guitar practice. You can imagine a lot of the activities that would take place. Very loud music, tons of junk food, and hours, and I mean hours, of hardcore, no breaks involved, video gaming. Anyway, what's the worst feeling when you're finally about to take down the entire Chimera invasion and save your lil boy, needing a piss? So my underdeveloped, hopped-up smooth brain self saw the natural solution. Literally. I'd peed outside on hikes and the like, so why not in the plant pot next to the TV? This continues for a month or so of Thursdays. I was so happy with my new solution, keeping it in room and not needing to run to the loo. Well, lo and behold, this one poor plant could not absorb several jugs worth of wee. The room started to stink, and so my mom took action. She quickly figured out what it was, and showed me the lingering puddle at the bottom of the pot. I was balked, lost PlayStation privileges, and never did it again. Today I messed up by half-assing the burial of my daughter's dead hamster. So about a year ago we got a hamster for my 9-year-old daughter because she had been begging the wife and I for weeks and she had proven herself mature enough to own one. So we drove to our local pet store and bought her a hamster. She loved it, and would play with it every day for like 2 months. She would even feed it and take care of it. Us parents didn't really have to do much, which was a very pleasant surprise. That was, of course, until about 2 months of the hamster, and then my daughter got a bit bored of it. She still loved it, but I was the one who ended up feeding it. So naturally, when it sadly passed away 2 weeks ago, I wasn't exactly distraught. My daughter, however, was. But of course I felt terrible for her and was willing to do whatever she wanted in remembrance of the hamster. Her idea was to bury it in our yard, which I had no problem with. We laid the hamster in a shoebox under a tissue and said our last goodbyes. At this point in the story it is important for me to inform you that I have a dog. But, as I was digging this hamster's grave, the dog did not cross my mind. I dug a hole a little over a foot deep, packed the dirt back on, and my daughter put a wooden cross over it as a tombstone and we walked back inside. Fast forward 2 days and my daughter didn't seem very upset about it anymore. That was until the very next day. I was cooking dinner and happened to notice out of my kitchen window that my dog is aggressively digging in our yard, right where the hamster was. To say that my heart sunk would be an understatement. Obviously I knew exactly what was going on, but I didn't want to make it obvious because I figured it would be best for everyone if I just went outside, yelled at the dog, fixed the grave, and no one ever knew. So that was what I attempted to do, but my daughter's curiosity got the best of her and she looked out of the window. So I'm yelling at the dog and assessing the damage as my daughter and wife come running out the door towards me. Now, thank God, I don't believe that the hamster was harmed, but there was a hole in the box, so I'm not sure. As swiftly as possible, I kicked some dirt onto the box nonchalantly so that it covered up the hole before my family saw it. My daughter was bawling. "Honey, look, he didn't even reach the box, the hamster is fine." I tried to say in the most reassuring voice possible. But she did not care. That's when the idea that should have struck me the day prior, finally struck me. My dog has a shock collar and visible fence that prohibits him from going in the woods. I suggested that we bury the hamster in the woods instead so that this wouldn't happen again. And I also said something along the lines of, "That's where the hamster would rather be buried anyways, don't you think?" Fortunately, this seemed to cheer her up a bit as she agreed quickly. Today I messed up by being an a-hole on internet and causing a stranger to get divorced. 2 weeks ago on a random Thursday morning at like 1 a.m. someone started shooting off fireworks in my neighborhood. I've been having bouts of insomnia and was finally able to get to sleep, and I had to get to wake up at 4 a.m. for a meeting 2 hours away that I had to be at for 8 a.m. I was pissed and so were my dogs. I love fireworks but think there's a time and a place. Thursday morning at 1 a.m. is not it. I posted to the neighborhood FB group a few hours later during a coffee break about people that set off fireworks at 1 a.m. midweek. After I make the long drive home, I check my FB. Some guy comments that I can't sleep because I'm a fat pig. Now, I'm chubby but not sloppy fat. Plus I just lost the equivalent of a fully grown male wombat, or 54 North American gray squirrels, so I feel fucking awesome about myself. This is where I may have really fucked up. I respond to the guy, who was maybe mid to late 30s/very early 40s. About the same age group as me. I write in a comment beneath his, "Listen guy's name, I'm sorry I had to end things, but I just didn't have the same feelings. What you're saying now is just hurtful and mean. Please stop sending me messages, and commenting on my FB posts is just a pathetic way to contact me. I told you a dozen times already, we are done. It's over." The following day I had to get to the airport for an out-of-country vacation that had me getting up early and leaving early as hell. So I don't check my FB during all the craziness, also because I'm only on it sparingly. I don't live on my phone, and when I am, I'm usually on Reddit or TikTok versus FB. I could not check my FB even if I wanted. I was on a cruise not paying $25 per day for internet, and the country we visited didn't really have the greatest Wi-Fi. Besides, I was having a blast leaving the chaos of the world behind. I signed on Monday night and fuck. Apparently, people took this seriously and told his wife. She was freaking out on me, pleading for information. Sending me messages. Her and his friends were DMing me. He was DMing me. It was bad. The last message was the guy saying I'm a total cunt because I refused to tell the truth and I just destroyed his life. I immediately messaged both him and his wife explaining what happened. I sent pics of me on vacation, even, time-stamped. Apparently, he is a serial cheater, and when I exposed our affair, another woman exposed her affair with the husband to the wife because AP was jealous that he had yet another side chick. This was the straw that broke the camel's back, because not only of the multiple affairs, but because he humiliated her with how public it was, especially it being a neighborhood group.